So we take this hourly. We walk in the morning. Now remember, this is yesterday. And we have to do yesterday because now we don't have such a glorious setup as we had yesterday. So what do we look for? As I said, one of my favorite patterns was always channels. So we set up a channel. We have a very nice one here. Now, the decision you have to make here on this setup is, should I run the channel up to here? Remember, we're here yesterday. Yesterday's right there. That's the end. Or should I run it here? My choice, as it was yesterday, because I showed you the chart. This is yesterday's chart. Where's my yesterday's chart? It's right here. Okay, this is yesterday's chart. Remember, this is the chart I drew yesterday. So I drew the channel right there yesterday, where I just did today. Logic thus. Channels very often. One, this is a channel going back more than a month. Two, it's based on a good fundamental view, improving China for the Aussie economy. Channels often have a brief penetration. When you have a channel that matches up, now you could also have drawn another channel line right here, and let me show you. Let's do it this way. Okay, you could have drawn this channel here, right? It's not quite as well defined, but it is very close to parallel. Parallel is probably right about there. So when you do that, let's do it this way. You could even do this. You can see why I like this system so much. Okay? Draw this channel here. Okay, look at that. So what do you have here? Another channel going back to the first here that was penetrated, but the penetration stayed with it. And where did it go? It went back down to the bottom of the channel. That tells you two things. Primarily, it tells you that the Aussies bid, which we all knew. An S, it's your chart. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure what that means. So, but channel penetration is not an unusual event. Right here, you might have been tempted to consider that the channel might be re-entered. Now, since it was the first penetration, you have to work, whatever your feelings are on that particular, and that will go with the trader and what they consider the view. But first penetration like that, and a relatively weak penetration that did not generate a huge run through, just a little bit of a penetration, then it stalled, is a candidate to go back the other way. This did not. So if you had went here and went short, you would have been foolish not to have put a stop here. Same thing here, only we got a different result. As I said earlier, the upward penetration of a channel is not unusual. And most of the time, the currency re-enters the channel. Because think fundamentally. If this re-enters the channel, it doesn't break by any means the long-term trend. You go all the way down to here and stay within this long-term trend. So it doesn't abrogate the fundamentals at all. That's point number one. Two, remember our motivation. Our motivation is profits. The line of the rising Aussie tells you that people are long. No position is worth its P&L until it's actually closed. The motivation for traders, given all other things equal, up here, is likely to be on the side of taking profits up there. You have buried profits, meaning not profits. You have, what shall we call, pending profits. Nobody gets profitable. Nobody's profitable until they cut the position and make the profits. Two, it doesn't break the upward trend, which I think everybody believes in and participates in. And three, you have a setup that everyone can look at and say, this is probably a good time to take profits. So that would have been my position here. Now, as I said, now I have some questions, polls I think that we do with the webinar, and I'm going to try this with FXStreet. We've never done this before. Now, assuming that this was the setup yesterday, and the choice, as I said, my choice for the reasons I just gave you, would have been to go short someplace up here. Given that, and that's around 97.20 or so. So, my first question, actually, I answered it already, but let's put up the first poll question, and then we can vote on it. Cool, this actually works. Now, I've already given you my logic, so this one I've already sort of given you the answer to, if you will. But everybody can vote. I'm going to vote 2. And submit to which would be the best choice. Now, the choices as I formulated them are not exactly as I just said, so perhaps it's a little different. But the basic choice, we'll see in a second. As soon as everyone votes, I will. Okay, then whenever it's done, just pop it up there. Okay, I'm assuming everybody can vote, so I'll continue to talk. So, the basic choice in this scenario for my analysis would have been to go short. Either if you're feeling risk eager, to go short up here. Okay? Or if you're feeling a little less or a little more risk averse, to go short on the re-entry of the channel. Either way. That would have been my choice. Let's see what everyone says in a minute. So once you take that once you take that initial position, you have a choice about where to go. If you're really feeling strongly about it, you can go short. This was about 97.20. You can go short up there. Would have been a good trade at the moment. However, or you could have gone short once you re-enter the channel. Okay? So, you could also have done something else. This would have been somebody who's really risky. You could go short. You could go long above the channel, thinking that you're going to get a break. No answer. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Buy above the main channel, only 7%. Sell below the main channel, 33, and buy above the main channel and then reverse. My choice would have been the second. Because of the reasons I told you earlier, I didn't think that we were set for any kind of break here. Okay, so let's look what happened and what one of our actions would have been. So now, the market did not really go any higher than that initial break. Okay, it came back down, entered into the channel, safety trade if you will, and didn't move. Now, why didn't it move? Because and this is why you pay attention to fundamentals, because Australian CPI was coming out, and the market knew that. Or should have.